working harder isn't going to scale your roofing business, and it's actually going to make you less money. I'm Cole. I'm one of the founders of NCT Media. We spend millions of dollars on Facebook ads for our roofing clients, and we've helped multiple roofing clients scale to 8, even helped some scale to 9 figures. So in this video, I'm going to explain why this is, okay? So working more is actually making you less, right? And in many cases, you're the only one quoting and selling guys. You're the only one managing your crews and, making sure jobs are installed. Every part of your business depends on you, which means it stops when you stop. It stops when you stop. It's dependent on you, and you are the bottleneck, right? And I'm going to explain why that's bad in a second. But also another thing that happens when you're in work mode and you're in so many different parts of your business and you're just focusing on this and that is you get tunnel vision and you're distracted because you're working all the time and you're just focused on the actual work that you're doing in the day-to-day, and you lose sight of big picture things like scaling, implementing systems, and actually being the CEO of your business. And you're stuck in the wrong work. You're doing tasks that's $20 per hour, but you're the owner of the business. You need to be doing things that are $1,000 per hour problems, right? Hiring people, scaling, implementing strategies, getting more closes and more leads, figuring out how to do that, right? Every hour you're spending working harder, you delay working smarter. And it's actually much, much easier to work harder and work 8 hours, 10, 12 hours per day versus doing smart work and thinking and big picture stuff, which might only take 2-4 hours a day, right? Because it requires a lot more brain power, okay? So working more isn't gonna make you more money. It actually caps your potential. And I'm gonna explain why in a minute. So you need to shift from hustle to systems, right? So a system is anything that replaces your time with a repeatable process, right? It's something that works without you. It could be a system full of people and employees, or it could be something that's completely automated by softwares and technology, right? So what should be systemized? Marketing should be almost entirely systemized. Sales should be almost entirely systemized. That would be a people system for the most part. Operations, that's a little bit of mix of systems and people. That should be completely systemized. Admin, invoicing, automations, scheduling appointments, emails. That should be people, and you should have admin in place to take care of those things, right? Because it's super minuscule and it could drain your brain power and completely distract you. But this is the thing. When you have a system in place, it almost will exponentially scale, right? It's not even linear like it would be with people, like door knocking, for example. So let's say you're marketing through door knocking, and now you're managing your team, you're getting them motivated, you're making sure everything's going all right. That's a full-time job right there. That's a full-time job, and you're the owner. You also have to focus on your numbers. You have to focus on making, big picture moves and putting out fires and all that good stuff. And you are dedicated to managing this door knocking team, which is the entire system and the entire reason why you get jobs, right? You don't have anything else in place, let's say, right? And each time you get a new door knocker, it's gonna require more of your time, right? It's gonna have a linear scale to it, okay? So every time you get one rep, now you're adding, let's say, 2 appointments per day or whatever the metric is, right? But with paid ads, you literally can up the budget, get more leads, and get more appointments without hiring a single person, right? It is super, super simple and automated to scale, right? And also, you're not managing this door knocking team hours and hours a day. There's so much complications and fires to put out because it's a team of people versus just launching a campaign, which is like your entire door knocking team. Like the ads in your campaign is your door knocking team, right? And you're just managing that. And that only takes so much time per day, maybe an hour a day, maybe, right? Once you learn it really well, even less, right? You're barely even touching these ads, right? So that system has an exponential scale to it because it doesn't require manual work, right? It's, here, let me pull up something on the screen actually. Okay, so I'm gonna show you a little example on how this kind of looks. So basically, you have your inputs down here, which is your work, right? And then you have your outputs up here. As an owner, you want the input to output ratio to be completely disproportionate, right? Lower on the inputs, higher on the outputs. That means you're doing high leverage tasks. But a lot of you that, like I said, managing your door knocking team, and you're also managing your operations on the back end, getting jobs installed, all that good stuff. This is how it looks, right? So you're putting in inputs, and this is the outputs that you get, right? Which means you're capped, right? Because you could only put in so much inputs, and you could only get that equal proportion of inputs to outputs. So you're capped. If you're working 16 hours a day, you probably can't work a single hour more, right? And now you're capped, and your inputs and your outputs, they're capped, right? So you're only gonna do X amount per year based on X amount that you're working, because you only have 24 hours in a day, right? So that's what that kind of looks. But if you start to replace your time and your tasks and the things that you do on the day-to-day with systems like ads. So now, instead of spending, let's say, 5 hours a day managing your door knocking team, you're spending 1 hour a day managing your ads for the same result, and you could even get way more out of it. But let's just use this as an example. Now, this is what your tasks and your leverages kind of look like, right? This amount of inputs for this amount of outputs, right? That's what you want your day to look like, right? Is this disproportionate input to output, high leverage tasks, right? And that's all you want to do. If you're doing something, if you're doing something multiple times per day, multiple times per week, you probably should delegate it, right? You probably should delegate it, unless it's something that is high leverage that only you could do, that is some CEO owner stuff, like looking at numbers or something, then you should probably delegate that task, because more than likely the input to output ratio is equal, or even honestly, sometimes, a lot of the times actually, this is what it looks like. Like, I'm just being generous saying you're gonna get an equal, but a lot of times it looks like this. Completely disproportionate, right? A lot of input for a little bit of output, right? And you're gonna get completely blown out of the water by people that are working smarter, focusing on high leverage stuff, low input, high output tasks, that they're gonna blow you out of the water, and they're working less than you. They're working less hard than you. Working hard is great, right? But you wanna work hard and work smart. Imagine the amount of results that you would get if you're spending your entire day working, but then your input to output ratio is good, like I've showed on the screen, like doing something like paid ads, or having your operations systemized to where you don't even have to look at anything. When you get a sale, you know that job's gonna be installed, and it's gonna be installed seamlessly. Like, that is the system that you need in place here. Because as an owner, especially in this industry, which is so dependent on having good client acquisition, you need to primarily focus on how you could get more clients. Like, that needs to be the main focus, is my sales teams, my paid ads, my leads, how can I scale this? That needs to be your main focus as an owner, not putting out fires on the back end and focusing on things like that, right? Because that ultimately is not gonna bring more revenue directly to your business like it would focusing on that front end, right? So I just wanted to show that little visual example to make it, more digestible. But that brings me to the third thing. You need to replace yourself, right? Like I said, anything you do 2 times per week or a couple times per day can be delegated or automated, right? If you're checking your emails all the time, you probably could have an EA do that for you. If you have a door knocking team, I'm not saying you just completely abandon your door knocking team for paid ads. I do think you need to try to get a paid ad system up if you have a door knocking team, and try to replace it. But you should probably promote or hire somebody to manage that team for you, and then now you're focusing mainly on the paid ads, right? Build a mini system, record your screen, write a checklist, create a loom for team training. What I mean by this is just like you're creating SOPs for the things that you're doing, and then you're hiring people. A lot of the stuff that you do, a VA could take care of for $120 a week, $3 an hour, right? And they live in the Philippines, and you're paying them minimum wage out there to handle very easy tasks that you would do anyways, right? And now you're saving time. You're clearing up your schedule, and you're doing owner shit, right? Super important. And then, yeah, like I said, hire people, admin, sales, lead gen. Like, you could get a media buyer, and you don't even have to manage your paid ads, especially if you don't have experience. You could find a good guy to run your paid ads for you, and you don't even have to worry about paid ads. Now, all you're worrying about is sales. Now, as an owner, you're extremely high leverage, right? Especially in this industry, okay? And that brings me to the final section. What happens when you step back? You're gonna scale faster, okay? Because now nothing's dependent on you. Like I just showed you, you are limited on a daily basis, just like everybody, on your inputs, right? You only have so much time that you can be working per day, right? So you're limited on your inputs. And if you want to scale, it will get to a point where, let's say you're doing $3 million a year, you're fully capped out, you can't be working anymore. You're not going to scale by figuring out, okay, I need to work more. I need to figure out how to work more, right? The way you're going to scale is figuring out how can I clear my schedule of work and make each and every task decrease, but have the same, if not more, output for less time, right? That's how you're going to figure out how you're going to scale past that like $3 million a year mark or whatever it is. Probably less in most cases actually, but let's say $3 million a year, right? You're going to scale past that by implementing systems, right? So you're going to scale faster. You're no longer putting out fires. You're building the fire station, right? You're building the fire station to put out fires. That means you have guys in place that are capable and they have the ability, and you gave them the permission to put out these fires, right? And now you don't have to worry about some job going wrong or this and that. You have a guy that will take care of that. So you're just completely focused on, we need to get more clients. We need to make more sales. We need to get more roofs done this month. How are we doing this? How are we hiring more people on the back end to be able to fulfill on more jobs? How are we hiring more sales reps to be able to sell more appointments? That should be your focus as an owner. Like, primary focus as an owner should just be scaling the operation and big picture stuff. And now you also don't have that tunnel vision where you're just focusing on this job needs to get done and this sale needs to be made and this lead needs to be worked. Now it's just like, more, scale operation, increase size of the team, right? More, get more leads, get more sales reps. That's your focus as an owner right now. And now you're going to scale, right? You're not just focusing on these little minuscule tasks that should be delegated, right? Your time is worth more. Like we said earlier, you should be doing things that are $1,000 per hour, which is like scaling your teams, right? Which is like getting more leads. That is $1,000, if not more, per hour shit, okay? Hiring, marketing strategy, offer testing, look at your numbers, make sure the numbers are good, track your numbers, all that stuff, and scale, right? Like, that should be your focus as an owner. If you're not, and you're such in the day-to-day, you're doing tasks that can be hired completely, you need to reevaluate your schedule completely, because you are not going to scale and you're not going to get to the next level operating in this sort of way, okay? A system that runs without you, grows without you, and sells without you. You go from operator to owner to architect. Imagine also being able to just step away from your business for 2 weeks, you spend some time with your family and your kids, and your business still grows, or at least stays the same, right? Like, that would be absolutely phenomenal, right? That means you have a good business set up. That's what people look for when they try to exit a company, is a company where it's not dependent on you as an owner. You don't have that key man risk, right? Which oftentimes the criteria that private equity firms have for purchasing a company and considering a company healthy is always the best way that you could have your company set up to scale as well. So now your company's not only more exitable and is going to get a higher evaluation because it's a healthier company, it's also going to scale more and make you more money on a month-to-month basis. So I hope this all makes sense. You could check out our other videos. We go into depth on paid ads and sales and all that good stuff. So stay tuned for future videos and check out some of our old ones. We drop pretty much everything. Like, we don't hold back anything. We give away all the information. So check out those videos and like, subscribe, and stay tuned.